Good morning, second grade. This is Mr. Underwood. Today is Monday, April 27th, 2020. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be looking and reviewing the read, draw, write method or process that we use when we solve word problems. So just remember that with read, draw, write, it goes directly along with the Eureka lessons that we do in math every single day. So anytime you have a word problem, an application problem, this is the process that you will use. So first off, before we begin, let's review what is read, draw, write. Now, you may remember that your teacher uses RDW. You may hear your teacher say that all the time. I know in Mr. Underwood's class, we use RDW. We actually added a letter, RDSW, and we'll get into that a little bit, but it's still the same, RDW. Read, draw, write. Anytime we do a word problem, I always ask my class, what are the letters that you use to help solve? And all of my kids always say RDW. So let's review. R is read the problem. So when you have a word problem in front of you, first thing you need to do is read the problem. If you need to read it more than once, that is perfectly fine. But remember, you must read the problem. Step two, move to your D. Your D says draw a picture or write a math problem to solve. Show how you solved it. So these are the tape diagrams or the algorithm that you use. This is how you solve. And I told you that in my class, we actually put S in, and S just simply stood for solve. So it's the exact same thing. So where it says solve right here, just remember that when you're drawing, you're solving. And the last thing is write. When you get done with your problem, make sure you write and state your answer in a complete sentence. Now, another thing that I like to tell my kiddos is that when in doubt, draw it out. So anytime you have a word problem and you're like stuck with it and you're thinking to yourself, wow, Mr. Underwood, I cannot solve this. Remember, when in doubt, draw it out. So RDW, that's a process that we use to solve word problems. Now, you may be thinking, why do I have to do this, Mr. Underwood? This is not just something in second grade. This is for every student at Providence Elementary. This is our method as a school that we use to solve word problems because everybody in the school all use the Eureka word problems in the Eureka lessons. So this is how we solve a word problem. So it's really good that we review this before we move on to third grade. So let's look at an example. If you're in my homeroom, you've already seen this example. So just bear with me, but we're going to go over it one more time. Now, first thing I need to do is read the problem. So here we go. Thomas is stocking fish in the pond on his farm. He is stocking 125 bass, 270 bluegill, and some catfish. When Thomas is finished, there are 560 total fish in the pond. How many catfish did he stock? Okay, well, first off, let me put on the marker. Oh, scroll back up and let's put it on. And I'm going to put R and I'm going to mark it out. We have read the problem. Now I got to move on to D, where I'm going to draw. So let's scroll down just a little bit and let's look. Now, I mentioned a few minutes ago about a tape diagram, right? Well, here is my tape diagram. So the tape diagram shows bass, bluegill, and catfish, which if you go back to the word problem, bass, bluegill, and catfish. Now, these are real fish that people put or have in ponds. So you can go to any lake or any pond across Georgia and you will see these fish. So let's go in the word problem and look and label our tape diagram. So the first thing is 125 bass. So right here, I need to add 125 bass. Now, where did that come from? From the word problem, 125 bass. Well, go back up. How many bluegill? 270. So I need to write in 270 bluegill. Now go back up and look at catfish. How many catfish do we have? We don't know because it says and some catfish. So in the blank for catfish, I'm going to put a question mark. So that's what we are solving. So think to yourself right now, what am I having to solve? Well, we're having to solve for the number of catfish because it doesn't tell us. So he is stocking these fish. When Thomas is finished, there are 560 total fish. So in your tape diagram, go ahead and put a bracket around it because the entire length from here to here is going to showcase how many total fish we have. And the answer to that is 560. Now, did I make that number up? No, I came up with that number in the text, the word problem. So put it back, and now I got to solve for catfish. So the first thing I need to do is figure out the total amount that I do know. So I do know that there are 125 bass, and I do know that there are 270 bluegill. Now, how do I find the total? I'll give you just a quick moment. How do I find a total of something? If you said add, you are correct. We know we must add the total number of fish that we have. So ones go with ones, tens go with tens, and hundreds go with hundreds. So this is my drawing. This is my algorithm. 5 plus 0 ones is 5 ones. 2 tens plus 7 tens is 9 tens, or 9D. And 200s plus 100 is 300s, or 300. So 395 bluegill and bass. Well, that's not going to be the final answer. Now, I assure you that on a test like the milestones when you get into third grade, 395 will be one of your answer choices because they hope to trick you. They're assuming that you just looked at the two numbers you added, 125 and 270. You come up with 395, and automatically you think that's the answer. We know that that's only step one. This is a multi-step word problem. So now I got to figure out step two. I got to figure out what is left. So we just determined that these two equal 395. So I got to get from 395 to the total of 560. And how do I do that? I'll give you a quick moment and think about what we are trying to do. If you think that you should subtract, then you are correct. And let's talk about why you should subtract. We know we have a total of 560. We know that two of the fish totaled 395. So we have to find the difference between the total number of fish and the total number of fish that we do know. So the total number was 395. The total number was 560. So we're looking for the difference from 395 to 560. So difference is a key to subtract. So I'm going to put 560, and we are subtracting 395 from that number. Now, again, we said difference means subtract. So let's use the subtraction algorithm. I have 5 ones, and I want to take away 0. Can I do that? I cannot. I can't take away 5 if I have 0 to take away from. So I got to go to the tens place and regroup. So I'm going to take one of these tens, so this becomes a 5, and rename these as tens. Well, I had 0, and I renamed the ones as 10 ones. So now I have 10 ones minus 5 ones is 5. I have 5 tens now because I took one of the tens away and renamed it, and I'm trying to take away 9 tens. Can't do that. So I got to borrow from the hundreds. So I'm going to rename this 100. So take it 100 away, so now I'm left with 4, and add, excuse me, to the tens. So how many tens make up 100? 10. So I had 5 already, and I'm going to add 10 to it, so that becomes a 15. So 15 minus 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is 6. And 4 minus 3 is 1. So there are 165 catfish. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. Well, we know by going back. So let me remember 165. So let me erase really quick so we can look. Give me 1 second. Okay, because I want to be able to type. So let me go back right here, and let's go back and look at the W, which was right. State your answer in a complete sentence. So down here, I'm going to go and I'm going to type in my sentence. Now, it's one sentence. It's a simple, complete sentence. So I'm going to say, there are 165 catfish in the pond. Now, was that long? No. It's a simple sentence that describes the work we just did. We said there were 165 catfish in the pond. Now that we have looked at that, your assignment today is in Google Classroom. You're going to click the link on the slide and follow the steps. Remember, RDW. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 word problem examples that I want you to solve. Now let's look at the fifth one, number 5. It's not a multiple choice. It's a short answer. This is exactly like you will see on the milestones when you get into 3rd grade. There is a word problem, and this is called error analysis. The answer that is given is incorrect. It's your job to figure out why that person is incorrect. So in this one, please don't just put an answer. It asks you, give Tony an explanation of the correct amount of red birds. So for number 5, we're looking for an explanation that shows that you understand how to solve for a word problem. Thanks, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your teacher. Have a good day.